Hi, folks. Good morning. I'm sure all of you are doing fine. Always a pleasure to connect and talk to you about some interesting topic, one thing or other, which pertains to life and careers. I'm sure you like the content in this channel. Just leave a like and also consider subscribing to this channel is what my humble request would be. A very, very interesting question which keeps asked, particularly when we change jobs, is are we making the right move in terms of right employer? Because we have a fair amount of stability in our career, we probably not change very often. So why would anyone want to make a deliberately wrong move? So what is the most important factor to consider, and how to judge if a prospective employer is a fair enough employer where we can probably do a reasonably long stint is a biggest question which looms in all of us, irrespective of how much of a research we do and get an offer. Of course, there is a lot of due diligence which goes into us looking for a prospective employer. We've done a fair amount of work there. There is no doubt about it. But is there one particular benchmark which can give us a fair amount of confidence that we're not making a wrong move? Because it is very, very important that in our career, stability is a very, very important thing, particularly if we are going to work for the rest of our lives, or probably for a fairly long amount of time. Then it is important that we don't screw up our career path by making frequent switches. And a lot of times these frequent switches are not because of our own moves and our own volition, but a lot of time it is also because of external factors within the new employer or a present employer. So what is the best way to find out if the company which we are moving to, which we are considering, or which probably we have an offer from, is a good employer? There are a lot of factors. Yes, we can do a lot of research on the internet. It could be a listed company in the Indian context, a fairly large company with thousands of crores of turnover. We could look at the age of the company, how old is the company, how is the quality of the management and stuff like that. But does it all matter to us really is the most important or pertinent question. In our own level, for example, if we are joining that company as a finance manager or a junior finance manager, or if you are joining that company as a regional sales head, or if you are joining the company as a recruitment manager or recruitment senior executive, there could be multiple roles across functions. And if we are considering the new employer for one of these roles, how do we make a very, very short judgment that our move is the right move? What is the best yardstick? What do you think? I'm sure you have this experience of judging employees or prospective employers very correctly. But I would think the most important benchmark which we should all consider, and on which information is very, very easily available on the public domain, is the longevity of the present employers, or the average lifetime of the present employee in the organization. Someone in a similar role like yours, how long has he been there in that company? And on average of 10 people, a majority of say 7 or 8 people, how long have they been in the company? This is the best benchmark, because this benchmark cannot go wrong, and the law of averages means that at least a majority of the people stick to the company for fairly long. When I say fairly long, I'm not talking about eternity or a lifetime, but I'm saying an approximate period of 3 to 5 years or 5 to 7 years, nothing more, nothing less. Because less than 3 years, I wouldn't advise any frequent career switches unless otherwise things go very wrong. And of course, more than 7 years is too long a time, even you consider that you got 2 promotions and about 3-4 hikes in the organization. After that, for sure, because of number of factors, you'll hit the roof in that present organization. So after that, obviously you have to consider moving. But you should never be in a situation where because of number of factors within the new organization, you probably have to leave in 6 months or 1 year. So how to figure it out? The best way to figure it out, as I said just earlier, is to look at how long employees on an average stay in that organization. And where do you get this information from? It is very, very easily available. The first resort is what all of you know, because you are probably are on that social media platform as well, LinkedIn. Just do some research on LinkedIn, find out people at your level or probably one notch above and maybe one notch below, and see, probably look through about 10 or 20 profiles and find out average how long people have been in the organization. They could be there now, or probably they should have left the organization, joined some new place, but when they were there earlier, were there in that company for a fairly long amount of time, or a fairly considerable amount of time. Say, is it 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, a minimum of 3 years. Suppose you see that on 10 out of 8, 8 on 10 people or 7 on 10 people have made their moves in 6 months or 1 year. Obviously, it is not that all those candidates are probably on the wrong side. Obviously, something is wrong with the employer. If the factors may not be visible to you from outside, yes, but there is some turmoil inside. It could be anything. It could be employee engagement issues. It could be bad leadership issues. It could be the customer issues for that organization. A lot of things these are not revealed when you do an interview, because when you go and do an interview, you are given probably a very, very rosy picture by the prospective employer, and you also considering the law of averages or the law of biases, want to believe that the employer is a good employer, because obviously, consciously, human endeavor or human mind works like that. We always decide on a particular company, and then we think that that is a good company to work for, and that is why we are making the next moves. Nothing wrong in that. That is an optimistic mindset in life. But very, very importantly, the best measure to decide whether you should really consider taking up the offer or even accept an interview call from that company is this fundamental research as to what is the average employee lifetime in that organization. If it is less than 2 years, I would bet that you should not touch the organization with a barge pole. But if it is anything about 3 years to 7 years, you can comfortably believe that despite your information to the contrary, the company is a decent place to work or a good place to work. Because I'm sure you would be probably a meritorious candidate. You would be a very, very you would be someone with a very, very successful track record, and for someone like you who has survived till now on the basis of sheer performance and merit, obviously a company in which a majority of people are doing well and a majority of people have performed well over a period of 3 to 7 years or 3 to 5 years is the right place. Absolutely, there is no doubt about it. Again, if it is less than 3 years, less than 2 years, you should not touch the company with the barge pole. It is going to screw your career path. It is going to screw how your CV looks. So believe me, this is the easiest way. Of course, you obviously have other methods. You might have friends working in the company. You might have people who are in your network who know well about the company. You might even know the senior managers of the new company. You might even know the VP HR of the company. But all these people will not be able to give this quality of information which you have easily available on public domain. Either LinkedIn, or probably if one of your friends is a recruiter, ask their help and find out from Naukri in the resume database as to what is the average years the people work at particularly your level. Don't go too many levels below. Don't go too many levels above. If you are a manager, you should look at people at manager level, how long they have stayed in the organization. Minimum of 3 years, yes. Less than 3 years, no. Similarly, if you are a vice president finance or vice president training, then at what level, how long have vice presidents or associate vice presidents stayed in the company? Average minimum of 3 years, yes. 3 to 7 years, yes. Less than 3 years, less than 2 years, no to the organization. In my own experience and in my own work as an executive search professional and a consultant, this is probably one of the best benchmarks in which you can judge whether a prospective employer should be looked at or not. Of course, as I keep saying, there are a number of other methods. I'm sure there are hundreds of videos in the internet and YouTube as to what other things you should consider in joining a new organization. But I would think the clinching factor in your decision should be this, as to what has been the longevity of the employees in the organization. That is the best way to judge it. 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 people can't go wrong. And if 7 or 8 out of 10 people have not stayed in that company for a considerable amount of time, obviously you are doing a mistake by joining the new place. Otherwise, go ahead, accept the offer, consider meeting them for discussions and all those things based on this information. I'm sure you found this very useful. What other ways are you using to judge whether a prospective employer is good or bad? Please let me know your comments. I love your feedback. As I said earlier in the beginning of the channel, consider liking and subscribing to this channel. Have a wonderful career ahead. Thank you. I'll see you again soon. Thanks a lot.